Dive into the heart of Cleveland's business community with the Cleveland Burning Podcast. Join me, Kim Kitchen, owner of Burning River Marketing, and Kirk Tietz, owner of Cleveland Custom Coatings, as we explore the untold stories of local business owners. In this engaging series, we focus on the setbacks, accidents, and unexpected turns that pave the way for ultimate success. So just like the Cuyahoga River ignited change in the city, our podcast showcases how adversity can spark innovation and growth. Hear from passionate entrepreneurs who have braved the flames of failure and emerged stronger and more resilient. Get ready for candid conversations and a behind-the-scenes look at the business landscape in Cleveland. What's up, Kirk?
I was going to change things up today a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to give relationship advice.
Oh my gosh.
The best way to stay with somebody for a long time is to treat them with respect and take them on nice trips.
Okay.
For example, I took my wife to Florida last month. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about going and getting her, but we're still deciding on when.
I can see that working for a lot of relationships. Okay, cool. Well, welcome to the Cleveland Burning Podcast, where we dive into stories of local professionals who've braved the flames of adversity and emerged stronger than ever. I'm your host, Kim Kitchen.
And I'm Kirk Tietz. And today we are interviewing Jim Gepperth, the owner of My Life DJ Services.
Yep. So I get to introduce Jim. I know Jim through BNI, and his brother is in our BNI chapter, Mark Gepperth. But Jim and I just have a special bond. We're both Scorpios. I just love Jim. So I did find his bio on, is it Lakewood?
Dim the light.
Yes.
Lakewood Community? Lakewood University.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a jingle to that? Because every time I say it in my head, it's like Lakewood University. Is that a thing?
Well, we've had a couple of different versions. I don't know, but it sounds, we don't really have one. We don't have a jingle now.
Somebody's got
something might have been released
jingle
years ago.
that's in my head. So I'm going to read your bio because I was super impressed. I didn't even know all these things about you. Jim Gepperth, MPA, owns and manages a small business in North Olmsted, Ohio, which I did know. That's My Life DJ Services. He is a former program director of a large nonprofit charity organization serving Northeast Ohio and has 22 years experience as a manager in the nonprofit sector. He holds a master's degree, which I didn't know, in public administration from the Maxine Goodman Levin College of Urban Studies in Cleveland State University. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He has experience teaching political science, public administration, and business courses at the college level, as well as training and lecturing as a consultant. Jim continues to be involved with a variety of charity organizations throughout Northern Ohio. And in his spare time, Jim enjoys reading biographies, watching sci-fi movies, and cheering for Cleveland sports teams. Jim, that's so awesome.
Nicely read.
I know, right? But really, we want to hear about My Life DJ Services because our theme is sort of business owners talking about all the things they've done wrong. So, are you ready for this?
Sure, I think so. We'll find out in a minute.
So, how long have you owned My Life DJ Services?
I've been DJing for probably 35 plus years. I started in my early 20s to pay college tuition. And originally worked with a mentor who owned his own company, Slate Gray DJ Services. So I did that for many, many years. And then as he was getting ready to retire from that, I started My Life DJ Services to continue the work. So I've been a business owner for about 15 years, something like that.
Now, I know your brother gives you a lot of grief about not wanting to grow your business because he knows that you are booked out pretty much every weekend, and so like
he gives me grief all the time. That's why he owes me so many lunches and dinners. I look at the DJ thing for me was, for most years, except for 2 or 3, a part-time gig. It was a side hustle.
It's a side hustle, sure.
And it was a lifestyle business ownership. So, it helped me have the life that I wanted to have. But for most of those years, I had full-time work elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so in that situation, growth wasn't always my goal.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of years where I didn't have my full-time job, and then for those years I focused like a laser beam on growing. Mm-hmm. And then the gig in higher ed came along with Lakewood University, and I loved doing that. So, as throughout the years, I sort of would press the gas pedal on the business if I needed to, and or let up on it.
So it's really cool to have a business that you can do that with.
And now, frankly, for several reasons, I've actually cut back on my workload. I think you know that. I still do a number of gigs for nonprofit groups and others, but so I know it sounds, now Mark is such a go-getter that growth is on his mind every day.
All the time, yeah.
And that's probably right. That's what he does full time. He's got a team.
Yep. He's a real estate agent.
Yeah.
So.
And, that's his mindset all the time. And so that's where he lives and works. So, but for me, so we have this kind of ongoing joke that he'll say, you're coasting. You need to grow the business. And, but at the moment, the business was giving me exactly what I needed.
Right.
So,
absolutely. Well, that sounds perfect to me. So we are going to talk a little bit more about mistakes. We want to hear.
Before that, I got a question.
Go ahead, Kirk.
It's something that I've always wondered, so it's just a curious, maybe asking a DJ will give me the answer. Why is it at every wedding they play the Meatloaf song when it ends with them praying for the end of time?
Right.
Oh,
it always seems so.
It's not a very romantic song, although it is pretty.
I get it's a good connection song and a good dance and everything, but it's
almost
it
always
ends horribly.
That the bride and groom or someone the bride and groom knows in the family wants to hear it. It's rarely that I want to play it, to be honest with you. There's a lot of music like that when you listen to the lyrics probably shouldn't be played at a wedding, but for a myriad of reasons, people love the music or there's a family story behind it that if they don't hear Meatloaf, then they'll be mad.
It's not
at
the
me.
same, yeah.
But that's it's a good question.
I think it's a good time to have. During the wedding, that's the best time to have a really good time.
Yeah,
because marriages they end bad no matter what. I mean, it's either divorce or death, right? There's no other option.
I've always wondered, did the couples whose weddings I DJ, did they have a better prospect of staying together?
Oh, have you ever tracked that? That would be
No, but I would love to
fascinating.
do that research. And what most people don't know is, and I wouldn't say I'm a super religious person, but this is something nobody really knows. I've never told anybody this.
Oh, good.
On the day of the wedding, I say a prayer for the bride and groom that their wedding day goes well, that their marriage goes well. And so, as an academic, I'm curious to know, is praying for the bride and groom, does it increase the likelihood of them staying together?
Yeah.
So if I did a research
all
study,
your positive vibes throughout that, I mean, everything, just you being involved in that union could have an
maybe,
impact.
but that's probably unlikely. I think God has a little more.
I had a dispute with a lady one day, Jim. She was telling me praying works, and I was telling her it doesn't. And after arguing with her for about 5 minutes, I said, I can prove that praying does not work.
I prayed for you to leave like 10 minutes ago.
About 3 minutes ago, I prayed for you to leave.
Yes.
She got so mad, she just walked away. And then I thought, man, maybe praying
it does work.
It takes time. You got to wait.
Yeah. I think God meets you halfway. So whatever you have to do to make the situation turn out the way you want it to, that's part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now can we get to the theme, Kirk? I want to know if
Absolutely.
I feel like he's got good stories. Jim's always got good stories. So we're looking for train wrecks. The theme of our podcast is kind of like a big mistake, maybe something you wish you hadn't done, or maybe just something that everything went bad. And obviously your business is a place where you want it to be now. So it's not,
Yeah, I think, it's funny because I know that, and I teach business management and entrepreneurship at Lakewood University, so we study this. And, it's pretty well known that entrepreneurs who have a positive spin on failure do better.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
They're more resilient.
Yep.
So this theme behind your podcast is really valuable.
Thank you.
And I believe that. I don't focus a lot on mistakes because I'm always about let's get over this and move on. So, but like all business owners, I think I early on struggled with how do I sell myself?
Okay.
How do I interact with prospective clients to get the contract? There were times where I would help a couple plan out their wedding before they signed me. And then they would go to another DJ with all the notes that I gave them. And, for like $50 less, they would book another guy and say, here, make this happen. And so I learned, what to give away and not give away. And then during the sales process, when prospective clients would begin asking me, questions on how to plan and what to do, I would say, those are great questions, but those are typically questions that we talk about after the contract.
Okay.
And that
That's a nice way
one
to
little
say it.
move,
Yeah.
so that's me tactfully saying, I want to help you, but I ain't gonna help you
So much I
unless
can
you
do for
sign on
free.
the
Right,
dotted
exactly.
line. And often they would be like, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, well, let's look at the
Let's get
contract."
this contract going. Yeah.
So many people go too far in their sales pitch and they give it all away. And I used to do that, to be honest with you. So I became more strategic with that process early on. Early on in the business, I had several, I didn't have my pricing structured right, and I had clients who would not pay me because they owed me money at the end of the day, and I never heard from them. So live and learn. And
hard to
so
collect
you
after the
you
fact.
create a process where they're paid in full
Yep.
by the day of the event.
Okay.
So things like that, and I think that happens to probably most business people. For me, I sometimes wonder if my biggest mistake is what I did not do.
Ooh.
And Mark and I have this conversation all the time. And that is, I didn't really build a team around my work. So for all of these years, for the most part, I did for some time have a couple of other guys who were training with me and were doing gigs. So I was up to 3 DJs at one point. But one retired from the business, and the other was offered a job in Houston. And, he and his girlfriend went down there and got married, and I blessed them and go have a great life. But in the course of a couple of months, I lost my team.
Right.
And so I think, and I sometimes wonder, was my mistake not developing a larger team around the business so that I could step away from it.
Right.
So for
You could
example,
sell it
now,
if you wanted.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for
Succession
now, I'm thinking about, gosh, I don't have anyone to hand it off to
Right.
run it. So it's probably going to dissipate, as I get older and just do less work.
But if there's a DJ out there that would is there still a possibility
Yeah, I
that someone could
sometimes
contact you and be like, hey,
I
I've seen you
do.
around and I really like what you do.
I
And
sometimes think that it's not too late to do it, but
Right.
I've got a lot of other things going on in my life right now, and so training and mentoring is time consuming, as you know. And if I had done this, and I see this mistake being made in other organizations all the time, succession planning.
Yep.
It's just not doesn't happen.
Small
and
businesses
then
for
you
sure.
run into, the business runs into a brick wall when the owner gets sick or dies or just says, I'm done, I'm going to, Florida. So I wonder if maybe the big mistake for me was what I did not do, which is to build a team around the business. I'm still happy about everything I've done. I think
Right.
I had some good success, but yeah, this is talked about in. Have you read Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth?
I have heard of it. If I started reading it, I didn't finish it.
The Entrepreneurial Myth. It's
Okay.
a classic business book, and he speaks to this.
Okay.
And it's all about, do you want to start a business to give yourself a job,
Right.
which is pretty much what I did,
Me
or
too.
do you want to start a business
To have
that
something
can
that you can sell, that you can
Yes,
leave, that it's going to
yeah.
work without you.
exactly?
Yeah.
It can work without you. Not that you're not involved, but that
Right.
you don't have to be involved every day. Mm-hmm. So it's a real. I think it's an important concept for business owners. to think
Absolutely,
about.
especially at the
I
beginning.
struggled with this a little bit as well, but I found when you're kind of responsible for everything, it seems to be an up and down roller coaster constantly, right? It's like I'm selling work now because I don't have any, and then I have a bunch of work, so now I'm out there doing
Yes.
it. Then I run out of work because I
exactly.
haven't been selling it, and it came to a point where it was like I either need to make this steady, right, where
Right.
I have a steady amount of work that's steady. So you either have to have people doing the work for you while you sell, or somebody selling
Yes.
the work for you.
Yes.
Scaling a business is a tricky thing.
It is.
And it's not only being able to trust, but being able to hand over your baby, right? This is my baby. It's
You're
what
right.
I've created, and I same to you. And you almost feel like you have to keep your arms wrapped around that baby, keep it protected from falling down.
100%.
And one of the hardest things I did was say, here, you go take care of the field. You go fix that problem, and I'll stay here and sell something. That was
I know.
That was honestly much more. It's like sending your kid to school, so to speak. It's like letting them get on that bus for the first time, and you're going, oh, I don't want to do this.
And there's a lot of worry,
A ton of worry.
I experienced that when I had the two guys who were helping me, and they did a fine job. And there were clients who liked them as much as they probably would have liked me. So part of it's an ego thing too, I think.
Sure.
And
you think what you're selling is yourself, and
you
your
have to let go
touch.
of it. But it's so hard, and I admit that freely. It's hard for me to do that. It's funny though, but at the school and when I worked for the charity, I didn't have a problem delegating or developing a team around the work. I don't know why that is. So, but when it came to my business,
I feel it's because you're less passionate about.
It could be.
I'm
very passionate about my work, but there's something about that space, that environment, and yes, in those instances, I'm an employee just like the others are. And if I get hired to be a manager to create a team, that's what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
But in my own business, it was harder for me to do that.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you. It's an extension of you. You know. So
exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Very, very interesting. That's what I struggle with too. I got into my SEO business just because I wanted a job. I wanted to stay home. I needed to make money. I wanted to pay the bills. And now I've got enough clients where I've got other people working on those clients. And I'm starting to think at the age of 48, like, am I going to scale this so I have something to sell and walk away from?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I just going to have a job? And when am I going to stop the job? And then, what happens to my clients? Because to be honest, if I shut down right now, like, I'd have 15 clients that are like, well, who do I go to for SEO?
Right.
Like, and I don't want to do that to them. And so I'd really like to scale my business, but it just thinking about it differently. I didn't start out my business. My prices weren't set to scale. My prices were set where I just sold my time. So now I have to try to either increase my prices or find a way.
So you're at that point where you were selling your time.
Yep.
Now you're out of time, but you need more money.
Yeah.
So now
if
you
I'm
got
going
to
to
sell
pay
other
other people to
time.
do, I got to sell other people's times. But when I was selling my time for $50 an hour, what do I pay somebody where I'm still making money? Because at that price point is actually pretty low in our industry, and it's definitely a lot. So I have to increase my prices, or I have to find some fantastic way. Maybe I change my entire model, and it's not $50 an hour. It's you get these things instead. And if I can find a way for those things to only take us 5 hours instead of 10 hours, and I'm still charging the $500, then I've found a way to still make a business. So those are things I think about.
Absolutely. And there are multiple considerations with it. So the other thing is always being worried about your physical health. Mm-hmm. So if you start a business in which you are the worker, you're the owner and you're the worker, always in the back of your mind, you're thinking, man, I hope I stay healthy because I need the money and I can't lose this gig. If I get sick or hurt, who's going to do it? Will I, not follow through with a contract and get sued?
Right.
So there are those stresses either way. I think there are stresses and worries whether you keep it to yourself or whether you grow a business. Yeah.
I think about my mental health, not like I'm crazy, although anyone who knows me knows I am fairly crazy. But I mean, I think,
We've been concerned too.
Yes, we were going to talk to you about it. I'm glad you're here today, actually.
That like
That's what this podcast is actually about today.
This is an intervention. More about like me being forgetful. I mean, what I sell is strategic. I talk to a business owner and try to figure out like what content are we going to add to their website so that they get the right leads coming in. And it requires me thinking. And as I'm young now, like younger, like my brain is still working. I still remember where my keys are and like where my shoes are. But like at some point, maybe 10 years, I'm going to start forgetting things or not be as mentally, like when I see other people in business that are 75, there's no way they could do what I could do. So that leads me to believe that my brain is going to be like that. And so I need to teach somebody else so that they can be the
Yeah.
brains and I can like be, I don't know. Anyway.
You're like that guy from the Hair Club for Men. You're not only the president, but you're also a client.
Yes. Yes. You're everything.
It's true. It's true.
It's funny in the book, The E-Myth, Michael
I
Gerber.
have to read this, obviously.
He would say that business owners have multiple personalities, but primarily we are technicians. We are the doers, the worker bees, who thought at one point, we can do this better, so I'm going to start a business.
Yeah.
I'm going to build a business around the skill that I have. And while that's understandable, he suggests that that can sometimes be a train wreck because the technician doesn't always know how to do bookkeeping, doesn't always know how to do the selling.
That was my biggest problem.
Yeah.
all of it. You know?
So I actually was looking for a job, and I made a resume. I read it. I liked it so much, I hired myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you were very impressed with yourself.
I was like, wow, this guy's great. I wish I could get him to work with me.
Well, we like to leave on like a fun note. So tell us, I know you are always either advocating for yourself, for somebody else, or you have something going on. So like, what can we look forward to, or what can we help with in your life?
In no particular order.
Yeah.
I probably have a few things I want to share. So first of all,
Sure.
I'm a big believer in developing personal mission statements.
Okay.
And this takes time, I believe, over the course of sometimes years. So I want to share with you my personal mission statement is to help people get to a better place through education, celebration, and charity. And if you look at everything, most everything I do in my waking hours, aside from hobbies
Education, celebration,
and charity.
Charity.
So those are the areas where I that excite me, the work that I do. It's exhausting, but I'm excited by it. There's a difference between doing work that drains you and doing work that excites you. So if I'm working in those spaces, the teaching at Lakewood University is the education part.
Yep.
The DJ service.
Celebration.
Yeah. And then the charity I've been involved with forever.
Yep.
And I really think that successful people should give back in some manner to charities. We need a strong, vibrant nonprofit sector because in order for a free market system to work, not everybody gets served in a free market system.
That's true.
So we need the nonprofits to be doing their thing, and we need to support them.
My
So-
kids like to say capitalism sucks and is the root of all evil. That is what that
Yeah,
whole generation
right.
seems
I've
to
heard
think.
this. Yes.
Yes.
No, I'm a big believer in the free market system, but it does fall short, and there are gaps.
And that's why you
So,
need the charity.
Yeah, exactly. And on a completely different topic. So one day I was trying to figure out, how many gigs have I done as a disc jockey in like 35 years? Roughly, I don't know, at least 1,500, probably closer to 1,800 gigs. So when I calculated that, it came out to be that I have been at parties for between 3 and 4 years of my life, every day.
It's kind of cool.
So think about this.
Yeah.
I've done so many parties and events. If you were to push them all together,
Right.
It's like 4 years.
it's like
worth of
going
life.
to parties, being at a
24/7.
like a 4-year-long party, 24/7.
You must be exhausted.
I am
Jim.
exhausted. That's why I look the way I look.
Sounds like a real bummer.
Yeah, it's a weird thought, but no, I
I
think.
think I did that between 17 and 21.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, well, that doesn't even include high school. No, I just think that I believe in helping others pursue their fullest potential. So, and I know you all do too. That's why you do this.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, that's it. It's not a funny story as much as a general comment.
I like that. I don't have a personal mission statement. Kirk, do you have a personal mission statement?
For my business, I do.
Okay.
I don't tell anybody this, so I'm shocked that I'm going to say this.
Okay,
It literally
we're
just
ready.
been in my mind. When I decided to start this business, it was that I wanted to build a business based on relationships, and that I just wanted to be successful and known for being a guy that is loved and respected by the people that he works with and the people that he does business for. And so that's been my goal. My goal is just to be respected, follow through with what I say.
Yep.
The guys that work, they get treated with respect. They get paid. The customers, I'll go to any lengths to make sure they got what they asked for and that
Love
they're
it.
satisfied
Yeah.
when I leave. So
Well, I love and respect you, Kirk. So I think
Those are
fantastic.
ingredients
That's
for success. And when I think our students, when I teach business, the one thing I want to leave with them is exactly what you said, because most people who go into business, they're not thinking about the relationship part, but it's so critical. They may be savvy and have other skills, but if you're not a trustworthy, likable person,
right.
your future's limited.
I took a cleaning guy that is a manual. He's a really great guy. He owns a cleaning company. I took him down to a job that they were asking me if I knew a cleaner I could bring down to bid some work while I was bidding the painting. We met out front before we went in, and he's like, "Are you nervous to try to get the job?" And I was like, "No, actually, I'm not. And I'm not going to try to get the job.
Right.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and see if this is somebody that I'm capable of having a
Yes.
valuable
Like if
working
fit. Yeah, if you're a
relationship
fit.
Best way to look
Yep.
at it.
right? And if
Yes.
that's fine, then we'll move forward.
Yep.
Otherwise, I don't want the work. I want the relationship.
That is so powerful. That is so powerful. And I think that's key to a successful business, to be honest with you.
That's what I've based it on from the
You
very
need to,
beginning. Laying in my bed before I started.
Do more with that.
Yeah.
Because that's what business owners need to hear.
is
I
a
really believe
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't spread it out much, but that was literally while I was dreaming this up, I laying in my bed. And that's what I told myself every night. And I would get out of bed and I would tell myself the same thing again.
Kirk, I feel like I was able to draw something special out of you today.
Yes, you did.
Well, you did.
You did. All right. Thank
There
you,
is a
Jim.
serious side of Kirk.
There is,
I love it.
and we love and respect you for it. So thank you, Jim. We really do love
My
your
pleasure.
stories. You had a lot of stuff that is very valuable here. So we hope our listeners also enjoyed it, and if you did, then please subscribe
Please subscribe.
and leave
It'll
us a
help us.
review.
And it'll help the people that come in.
That's right. Yep. And until next time, remember that every train wreck can be a stepping stone to something extraordinary. And thanks for joining us on the Cleveland Burning Podcast.
Jim, that was great. Thanks for coming, man.
My pleasure.
We'll
Thanks
see you
for
guys
having
next
me.
time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.